Training mode. Choose your character. Mewtwo. Versus Fox. Ready? Go! Choose your character. Versus Captain Falcon. Ready? Go! Versus Falco. Ready? Go! Choose your character. Versus Ice Climber. Ready? Go!
Hey, what's up, Combi?
Choose your character.
Yeah, his first stock he wobbled me, and I wasn't expecting it because it was off of a weird scramble. Got it when I was at like 5-10%, maybe even 0. But his neutral, a lot to be desired. So wobbling ain't no thing. They have no neutral. But it's also been a real long time since I've played against a Ice Climber that did try to wobble me. Yo, let's go Rocket Bunnies! Stimmy dropping. Dude, my first like 4 matches all had disconnects. Oh, Modelo's! That's what's up. I'm just drinking apple juice tonight, you know. Keeping it simple. Yeah, he drinks very rarely, because early on he had some bad experiences with drinking. He's just not a good drunk. I love drunk acts. It's extremely amusing. There's like, I think, an old video of him having a drunk money match with somebody, and after he like won, he like ran out of the room. It was very funny. I think it was at like Pound. Was it at Pounds? Might have been at Pound, or it was one of the East Coast tournaments. Either Pound or Apex. Yeah, he's acts as a lightweight for sure. Well, I'm not sure if he's actually a lightweight, but alcohol definitely has pronounced effects on him. Hey, what's up, Court? What's good? Trying to relearn melee on the box. Oh yeah, the best part. It's like learning another language, you know, but you at least know how to speak melee. So, but yeah, I can only imagine now. Rough that was. Got past it pretty fast. Kelly took him home. Sounds about right. Let's just say that boy Jeff has a whole lot of inhibition. Oh my god! The frame charts. V-Man does not drink at all. He does zero. He was like less than Axe. Like he just, I think, 100% just refuses to ever drink. And imagine it's probably because of family concerns, issues, maybe alcoholism. I'm not sure, but maybe he'll tell you if you ask him. But he is also like he's an extremely picky eater anyway, and like alcohol, I think just isn't really all that delicious. Like even the sugary drinks. So I just imagine also just not to his taste, if I had to guess. Ford and Axe's rivalry? I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's like it was one thing like Ford would generally do like pretty well. Axe started kind of figuring something out against Ford. Ford struggled winning a lot more. There's like a kind of a triangle thing going on with Axe, Wobbles, and Ford, where Ford would beat Wobbles did beat Ford sometimes too. Mostly because Ford's character selections were all pretty good against ICs, but for the most part it was like Ford beat Wobbles, Axe beat Ford, and Wobbles beat Axe. wobbles to his ICs were just like really hard for Max to work around. Oh. Let's jump cancel.
Choose your character.
Boy, look at that. Zane losing in the 90-20 matchup.
Pikachu versus Mark. Ready? Go! Choose your character. Mewtwo.
I mean, were they really mulling over it? I mean, they probably were, but they're not going to say that they were. Right? Like, FD is a death sentence for space animals because, like, oh my gosh, you know, you have to play just a little bit better. Like, I mean, I won't say, like, I won't deny that FD doesn't give Marth an advantage. It really emphasizes its punish game, but the neutral game changes a lot, too. You know? Like, I've always said that FD is not a death sentence for Spaceys. It's just, well, if they smell blood, it's gonna feel really bad for you. You have less places to run if they're crushing you in the neutral. But if you out neutral them, it's still pretty good. Like, you just maintain positional advantages over and over again. And it's like when you're a character that just has, you know, when you're positive or better on shield, it's it's just kind of whatever. You only beat yourself harder on FD. The other stage just gives you more margin because you have all the tech. You have slide off DIs and ASCI downs. Platforms are less of a big deal if you really condition yourself to utilize them defensively. And Marth, like, I really still feel like Marth has a lot of trouble dealing with top platform stuff, but Zane is the type of Marth I think who does really well at handling it, mostly because he's really patient, and then also because he does hit so unbelievably hard if he gets you above the side platforms where you can't slide off. Then you're pretty dead. And that's fair. That's fair. But man, they really should just play. Why don't they just play Marth? Like, the Marth Ditto is really fun, and it's extremely volatile. And usually, if you play against someone who doesn't usually play Marth, if you have a strong enough foundation for the game, it can be kind of challenging sometimes. Like, when Ford first switched to Marth against me, it was actually a little bit hard, because mostly it's because I was just generally intimidated by him, because he's just a really good player. And it was hard to, like, recalibrate against him for a while. Eventually I got the hang of it, but yeah, his Marth in the Ditto was always kind of hard. I mean, that makes sense for IBDW. The way he plays Fox, it makes a whole lot of sense. A lot less effort in that regard. Playing Marth without the diligence in a Ditto makes it more of a gamble than something consistent like Sheik. Because if you're just a little bit off in the Martha, it can just be so volatile. But if you're playing sharp, then Marthados are a lot of fun. But hey, Slink, thank you for the follow. How are you doing? Renzler.
Ready? Go!
And the quit out. Thank you for playing. I mean, not many people want matchup experience against the 20th best character in Melee. You know, officially, right now, Mewtwo is now the 20th best. I used to always say Mewtwo's the 21st best character in Melee, but Mewtwo's gone up. Look at that. Probably because of Leffen. Although I don't know if I would put Game & Watch over Mewtwo, but honestly, that's a toss-up. It can go either way. The Panda tier list? Maybe. I guess we'll take a look at it. I actually never really sat down and looked at all of it. I just looked at it like, this is what the kids think, and, you know. Yeah, we'll run through it here. All right. So, upload the Panda tier list reaction. Alright, well, it's unfair because I've already seen the tier list, so it's not gonna be like a reveal first reaction kind of thing. But I'll go through my little breakdown of how I feel about this, you know. And so, you know, we'll start from the top, obviously. Fox #1. You still have to be a dummy to think that Fox is not the best character in the game, even if Marth, you know, supposedly, allegedly beats Fox. I'm still not convinced. I think it's 50-50. Match is really volatile. Both characters steal stocks from each other, just in very weird and interesting ways. Fox steals stocks from Marth from basically, you know, physical blunders in tech most of the time, and Fox steals stocks from Marth from basically just ambitious whiffs getting punished, and then of course bold shine edge guards. The more courage a Fox has, the more likely the Marth will die. But, you know, they want to say 60-40 just because humans mess up a lot, and so they feel like they mess up, and when they're up against, like, it's like fighting Zangief in Street Fighter. Like, you don't want to get SPD'd, but you're gonna get SPD'd in tournament, you know, that's the thing. Like, you'd have to have strong fortitude against a character like that, and, you know, it takes a lot of work and it's a lot of stress, but at the end of the day, it's still Geef. You can still do a lot to him. You just have to do a little bit more, you know. No one in the fighting game community complains about winning neutral against Zangief, because that's not the point of the character. The point of the character is, like, you're winning, you wall off in neutral as long as you can until eventually Zangief gets to play, and then you play his game for a little bit until you reset, and there you go. So winning 70% neutral is not even, like, how is that even a complaint to me? But regardless, I will say that mostly with Zane's performance, I'm okay with Marth being ranked #2. I personally probably wouldn't put him there, but I like dynamic tier lists, seeing as how this is like the first, I guess, quote-unquote official tier list since 2015. This is fine. I think we'll see fluctuation with Marth in the future, going up, going down. But for now, I think this is fine. This is a kind of a throwback to like the old 2006 tier list. Jigglypuff going up. And Jigglypuff being over Falco and Sheik is really interesting. I'm not sure because like on one hand, like with Hungrybox's performance on CRTs, I might argue that with how well and how consistent he's been, but online we haven't really been seeing many of those results beyond 2 Saint and HBox, and the performances haven't been super great. So like whatever little thing CRTs kind of give us, or give Puff players, or how they affect species, seems to be impacting the performance a lot on Slippy. So I think Puff being third, since this was also taken in before COVID, that makes a lot of sense. Like I think if we were looking at this post-COVID, they would probably move Jigglypuff lower than Falco, and it'll be a toss-up between Sheik. I know None thinks that Sheik should be higher than Falco, but I kind of feel like Sheik. If Falco is an S tier, I think Sheik needs to be an S tier. But the positions of these 1 through 5 are. I mean, I think anything after. To be honest, anything after Fox, I feel like over time, like as you look at like results of different tournaments, like Fox is still the most common characters in top 8 for the majority of tournaments. But I can see, depending on which tournament and which region, it's hosted in, especially for net play, we go like all these characters can change position because like there aren't that many other Mars. Like I think today we have Kodorin doing well, and then but he was up against Gatsu in grand final. So it's like, okay, so Marth did pretty well in a regional online tournament, but at majors it's really just Zane, and there's like no other Mars currently in the top 8, and especially since Kevin Toy stepped down. But we have some up and comers in Kodorin, LSD, probably some other Mars I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. But in general, though, we still have a lot of notable Sheik players that make big splashes, and most of their losses are really just going to come from the Puff matchup or just the sheer number of species, and that's just generally the case. Falcon going up over Peach makes sense. Not as much Peach representation. There's a universe where people will recognize that Captain Falcon is actually one of the best characters in the game, but I don't think we're ready for that conversation yet. So I think current spot makes a lot of sense. I'm okay with that. Ice Climbers being 8. Solo Sheik, absolutely. I think Solo Sheik can absolutely win a Super Major. As before, will happen again. I see no reason why Sheik can't win Super Majors. That's why I think Sheik is S tier, because I don't think there's anything keeping a Sheik from winning a Super Major other than just the sheer talent of the players in the current top 10. And the majority of those having pocket-spaced animals. Like really, like the biggest obstacle for Sheik is this guy right here. And because there's so many of this guy, that's what's keeping this person from winning. Because this person does well against this character, and this character does pretty well against this character, can get upset, but also can upset them back. We've seen a lot of back and forth with Falco. Falco's a pretty volatile character, between their survivability and their offensive potential. Mistakes punish Falco a little bit harder because the up-B doesn't go as far. But the Puff matchup is a weird one because it's stressful in a similar way that Fox versus Marth is stressful. Like it's very doable for Sheik. It just requires a lot of concentration, I think. Sheik has all the frames she needs to do well in this matchup. It's just that you have so many instincts, so many human habits that let Jigglypuffs prey on Sheiks that it can be really, really hard, even at the highest level. But I think it's all there. So yeah, Ice Climbers staying at 8th, which is really interesting. It says an arrow down, but ice climbers historically have almost always been around 8 or lower with recent changes. Since wobbling's banned, I don't know if ice climbers actually should stay at 8. I think Pikachu, Samus, and Yoshi are superior to ice climbers. And you could argue for Doc and Luigi being better too. But, I mean, ICs are still pretty deadly with handoffs. But, like, losing the Tilt Infinite is such a big deal that, like, ICs haven't really demonstrated that much. But there's also a lot less ICs in that play because, I mean, the Infinite was their big, powerful weapon, and they still never won a Super Major. The people just don't like to sit there. But, like, I feel like wobbling is what made Melee so complete and beautiful. Like, I like, you know, unpopular opinion, but, like, I don't mind wobbling. Because, like, if you watched me earlier, I just beat this ICs who did nothing but wobble with Mewtwo. Like, these people are playing this guy, that guy. This is Marth's best matchup in the top 8. Marth versus ICs, in my opinion, is Marth's best matchup. And, like all of these matchups are really hard for ice climbers. Peach being the hard counter, Puff having all kinds of technology. Like, all of these characters, like, the only one that's the best matchup for ice climbers in the top 8 here is against Sheik because of chain throwing. And even then, it's like kind of hard to do with DI, and it doesn't last forever. Like, the thing that made the matchup better for ice climbers was that you could chain throw into the infinite. Since you can't do that anymore, you have to kind of mix it up and then hope you can get them to the edge to eventually do handoffs on them instead. So, and the Sheik just has so much free, like, forward air on shield. If Sheik doesn't choose to jab and instead just chooses to escape after every forward air, ICs have no real counterplay against it. So, like, all they can do is just try to be aggressive and push forward to try to make them lose space in the center. But if Sheik gets around them again, or is able to forward air and then push forward and compete forward air, then I see some do it. Like, if Sheiks just don't do grounded moves and they stop trying to, like, use their down smash crutch as much as they often do against, like, the majority of people, then they would beat ice climbers way easily. Like, my Sheik still did really well against wobbles when we played a lot. In fact, the majority of my characters that I played, wobbling on or off, did really well against wobbles as ICs. But I also did know wobbles a lot better. Certain ICs would probably be a lot harder to fight, like Chudats and stuff. But I digress. That's a lot. That's a long rant about the ice climbers. Oh shoot! Sorry about that. I think my mic wasn't looking. You guys can hear me okay, right? This time my mic was, like, pointed in a weird direction. Alright, cool. But yeah, the order of the rest of the characters can be kind of hard to say, but I like where most of these are, because based on current representation of these characters, this makes a lot of sense. Like, Pikachu is representing really well. I do think Pikachu is representing better than Ice Climbers. But it's mostly just because it's carried by Axe. Alright, cool. No.
Alright, can you guys hear me now? Alright, can you guys hear me now? Mic check. Okay, cool. The settings going off on my my computer settings just decided to change to my headset, so I think that was the problem. Alright, nice. I need to get a new mic stand actually. Donation drive for a new mic stand because this thing keeps like falling over. Alright, cool. Alright, so into the C tier. So we have Ganon at the top, followed by Mario. I mean, I think this idea of Mario and Doc difference, it might be a relic of the past, mostly just because Doc has more guaranteed finishers and just general raw killing power, especially from stray hits, like stray long nairs and combos into his forward air, throw combos into forward air. All are much more devastating than the combos that Mario can generally do, unless he gets a combo into his forward smash or down smash and edge guard against like fast fallers or Marth even. Having that little bit extra, it feels like Mario's like a little bit faster. Most of the frame data is pretty similar, but Mario just like has these hits that just like feel a little bit faster in a lot of his moves. The little bit extra range on his forward smash, but it also has a conditional effect of having a tipper with the fire. I do see Mario still being lower, but a lot more top players are good with Mario. Like, they like playing Mario a lot more than Dr. Mario, and most of the Doc mains have kind of vanished a little bit. But if I recall, what was his name? There was a Doc player who did really well in 2019. I think it was France. Yeah, France. Yeah, he did really well. And so you just have a lot more representation for Doc as far as tournament main Dr. Mario versus Mario. That I think that this placement makes a lot more sense still. Like Mario hasn't really demonstrated anything like that in tournament, but like potentially I can see like Mario. I feel like Mario is still superior to Ganondorf. Because like if you look at like the modern matchups for Ganon, I think Mario does better against the space animals. And then they both do not great against Falcon, but I feel like Mario is harder to deal with for Falcon than Ganon. Ganon's just kind of combo food. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, a rookie out. But even factoring him, I'm not even sure. I think I do feel like Mario I might put Mario above Ganon, but I mean that is nitpicky. Like they're right next to each other. And then I think in 2019 you did have more Ganondorf representation. With like Bizarro Flame and I'm not sure if Titman was still playing, but there's probably some Ganons out there who were putting in some work. Eichelman and whatnot, but you know, some people are gone and excommunicado. So yeah, that does change where they are at now. Yeah, Nunez also picked Ganon in tournament for matches, mostly dealing with Hugs' Samus famously, but he picked Ganon for certain matchups to success. Ganon's stronger matchups against the top 8 are against basically the mid-fallers and floaties. So Marth, Puff, Peach are all his best matchups. Going against Ganon, that's right, yeah, he did have a good match against Amsa too. But Falcon is superior in that matchup. Anyway, Sheik, of course, is generally a Ganondorf's bane, but if Ganon does have chain throws back, Sheik just gets grabs easier and just has all kinds of advantages. Sheik wants to play dirty. It's really hard for Ganon. It's when Sheik's are like afraid to play dirty that Ganondorf stand a chance, I think. So But that's also Mario's weakness too. Just a little bit less because like top platforms don't completely destroy Mario as bad as they might Ganondorf, but he still suffers from like Peach like playing off side platforms and waiting defensively for Mario. Puff the same thing. So yeah, it can be pretty tough for both of those characters, but Mario can't kill. Does better against the mid-fallers and Fox. And then Ganon kills really great and struggles more against the characters that are too fast for him to catch. So, I guess they can go either way there. So it really just depends on who you're going to see more. Because I think you see space animals more. I feel like Mario's superior. But Ganon does have a lot of tricks, and a lot of people aren't as familiar with fighting Ganon. So you might see a lot more upsets too with Ganondorf. So that's fair. DK being here makes a lot of sense. There's been a lot of work. Rishi, Wrangler, a lot of people have been doing a lot of good stuff with DK. Young Link over Link is kind of a controversial one. I do think in the modern meta, Melee, especially with what Axe has been doing, Young Link does deserve to be up there. Hey, what's good, Zon? I think Young Link does edge out Link in overall matchups, because there's pretty much every matchup that Young Link, or that Link is good at, with the exception of Marth, Young Link does pretty much as well, if not better. So against all the floaties, Young Link is probably better. But against like the characters that give them both trouble, Link does a little bit better, I feel like. I feel like Link is a little bit better against Captain Falcon, a little bit, definitely much more solid against Marth. But against the space animals, that's the weird thing. And then you also have to factor in ice climbers. And you factor in a lot of the other low tiers and mid tiers. They struggle a lot more against run and gun Young Link styles than they might against Link. So Young Link, I think, has more potential just because you can play really dirty and really nasty with this character against majority of characters. Whereas Young Link is just like, or Adult Link is just a lot more solid in the matchups that are even. So, you know, dealing with hey, Jaded Falcon. So yeah, dealing with Marth especially, I really like the Link versus Marth matchup. I think a lot of Links do. Not, I guess, well, I'm not sure how they feel nowadays, but I know that I always liked playing Link against Marth, and there's even a lot of matches where my Link beats Tai back a few tournaments a few years ago. I mean, it's not that Marth doesn't know how to space around this grab. I think that most Marths just don't have that much Link experience, and so they get caught off guard. Like, I know how to space around Link's grab pretty well with when I play Marth. But at the same time, though, there's a lot of things that Marths just tend to want to do as a general game plan. They aren't used to the effective range and punishes that Link has, so it works out really well. So when you play against a forward smash happy Marth, it's just so free. Like every shield is a free grab and a combo, so that's always really nice. I've seen a little bit of Aklo. I know he has a really good Link and a great Fox as well. So yeah, it's pretty hard, but I think this placement, it can go either way. I think this is okay. Once again, I think that tier list should be dynamic and should be changing more frequently based on common usage as well as tournament results, not just character potential. But I mean, character potential definitely plays a big part of it. But obviously, tournament results and common usage of the character should dictate the tiers. That's why Fox is always going to be number one. Like, people can whine and complain about Marth all day, like no matter how you feel about that character, which I think Marth is extremely, extremely fragile. Marth is more of a glass cannon than Fox is, in my opinion. And I know Mewtwo King says something like that too at one point. But you can't deny that over 30% of everybody is a solo main Fox in the top 100. right? Like you can't take that away from them, and then not including that secondary people with Fox secondaries makes that number go up significantly, because everyone has to have a pocket Fox in competitive Melee, like pretty much everybody. All right, and so rounding up at the bottom here is Mr. Game & Watch. Watch Aklo versus Dreffen. Where... Oh, did he go Link against Dreffen? That sounds pretty cool. I think like Dreffen's style would be pretty vulnerable to a solid Link. I feel like... I mean, I've never actually played Dreffen beyond doubles like a really long time ago. I think the only time I ever actually played Dreffen was at... Melee FC Diamond and no, it was at Pound 2 and doubles, and I had a 1v2 because Ford was late, so I ended up auto losing to him. I think he made Dreffen quit out. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can believe that. So yeah, so there's a little small point of contention. I'm sometimes torn between where like Mr. Game & Watch and Mewtwo are, because sometimes some part of me feels that Mewtwo should be higher than Mr. Game & Watch, but at the very least, I kind of feel like Mewtwo shouldn't be in this tier anymore. I feel like Mewtwo can demonstrates and has demonstrated that he could be in C tier, like the bottom of C tier, but Game & Watch and Mewtwo can switch places all day. But obviously in 2021, with following the advent of Don't Test Me, we also can see Roy going back up. So nothing really changed as far as people's perception of Mewtwo, it seems, because like if we were to take a tier list poll this year, I can almost guarantee that people will put Mewtwo back at 21, and Roy will go up ahead of Mr. Game & Watch. What I think Mewtwo's matchups against the top tiers, I have not gone over that yet. So if we look at the matchup spread between Mr. Game & Watch and Mewtwo, they are pretty similar on paper. Mr. Game & Watch can be very scary for Marth. But Marth's tippers are, of course, really devastating, and edge guards are not too bad. Like, I mean, Marth obviously still has a pretty big advantage here, but Game & Watch does pretty well in that matchup. Most Mewtwo's hate the Marth matchup. I like it. I feel like Mewtwo does about as well as Mr. Game & Watch in that regard in the matchup. The main thing that hurts Mewtwo are to throw into tipper combos. If you don't DI them perfectly, then Marth can pivot forward smash you, and that can be rough. And once Marths really start doing true 50-50s, most of the time they always lean toward however far away, like whatever ledge you're closer to is where they're going to throw you. Yeah, in general, if anyone's above Mewtwo, Mewtwo becomes a much stronger character, because his vertical pressure is way better than his horizontal pressure. The only time that is less true are against the space animals. Space animals basically can descend on Mewtwo vertically because they're so fast and because their aerials have such good priority that I might trade with up tilt, and up tilt is so weak when you throw for a tipper up tilt that whatever they hit you with is always going to do more damage, and because you're also light, their arrows are going to have a much larger impact than my up tilt will, or up air, or whatever I decide to do. So that ends up being kind of problematic for Mewtwo. Mewtwo does struggle, I think, with dealing with platform camping. Whereas Game & Watch also can struggle with dealing with platform camping, but Parachute is absolute priority because it's completely disjointed. So, like, it can be really hard for them to punish from a top platform when he tries to fish when Game & Watch fishes for nairs and stuff. So certain strategies, I think, are not going to be as effective against Mr. Game & Watch, but his big problem is his shield and his roll defensives are not very good. So he has to play very normal heavy neutral game, and all those characters are really good at whiff punishing, because it makes it look like there's hitboxes where there aren't because of the way his animations work. So against their Game & Watch can be kind of weird to fight against, but if you've never seen it. But once you actually get used to his timings, you'll see that Mr. Game & Watch is a lot more vulnerable than he appears. So just like with Mewtwo, they both have a lot of tricks and a lot of nuance that you learn from fighting all these characters. I can definitely see Game & Watch being a little bit higher, especially because the matchups against the floaties can be scarier for them, because he's like a mini Marth against them. And then he does have the chain throws against the Spaceys, which is really nice. But historically, though, like, I know as a Mewtwo, and then even Leffen's Mewtwo have outperformed all the Game & Watches in tournaments. I would say that... Hey, Pipe, thank you for the follow. What I think about the Peach matchup, dual main Yoshi, Samus, and it seems awful. My secondary, tertiary Mewtwo seems like it does better against Peach. Well, if I had to take a character into the Peach matchup, since I don't play Yoshi, and I do feel like Yoshi doesn't have a great time against Peach, I would much rather play Samus than Mewtwo from my own personal skill set. But depending on how the Peach plays, Mewtwo does really well. But certain Peach styles can actually be really hard for Mewtwo. So, like, basically, really like float heavy Peaches can be pretty tricky for Mewtwo to deal with if they float at just the right heights to where they can react to full hot and air. And they cover themselves after their float landing forward airs. There's so little lag that you can't really get much, and then you have to space so well that if you miss space even a little bit, then you get hit with a grinder if you try to space with down tilt. So like trying to land grabs against their float cancel forward air whiffs is very, very difficult, near impossible. Yeah, Peach versus Samus is like just it's a big attrition match, and there's a lot going on there where Peach has a slight advantage, but like floaty matchups are like percentage of stocks. So like whoever has more of the game plan to like really take advantage of a percent lead, I think tends to do a lot better. And whoever can make the other person fall into their hits more tends to win. So it's really hard to be aggressive as either character in those unless you just have a really good read on how they like to move, because both characters are kind of hard to open each other up. But I think Peach opens up Samus easier, so that's why I think Peach has the advantage, because so many things are positive on shield for Peach, whereas Samus doesn't have as much that's positive. And then landing grabs with Samus on Peach is more of an intimidation thing, because Peach should always basically be looking to like float a lot of times, and if she goes airborne, it's really hard for Samus to get those grabs because the float hitboxes like shrink a lot. Peach pull Stitch, yeah, Stitch is also definitely changed the way the matchup looks. Crouch cancel does not help, but yeah, there's a lot of things. But I mean, conventionally, Samus's weight is still a factor even if she can't crouch cancel, and then you just assume that you're not holding down against the down smashes. Things might be a little bit different. But Duck always struggled against Armada, but Armada, beat a lot of people, so it's hard to say. With other Peaches, I haven't looked at too many other high-level Peach versus Samus, like how would Keizu versus YCZ look right now. That would be a really good match to see. I think K2 would probably win, but YCZ is a really good player. So we also can look at like Hugs and stuff like that. Hugs plays really patient and very diligent. So even though Hugs doesn't have as much tech as the other Samuses, he does like to prey on people's impatience, and that's a skill that a lot of players have lost with the modern melee culture. So With that though, Mewtwo versus Peach and Game & Watch versus Peach. I do feel like Mewtwo might actually do better in that matchup. But Game & Watch does have some really weird boxes for Peach to deal with. It's just, I think, I play a little bit of Game & Watch. I don't have like a lot of the modern tech because I don't like look at the Game & Watch Discord or anything, and then most of the studying I do of Game & Watch is sparing. But I play Game & Watch and decent amount of friendlies to pretty good success. Generally, my Game & Watch struggles the most against Fox. Foxes that like to run and gun and dash dance camp a lot, because like I want to try to open people up, but it's really hard to get them, because even if I corner them and I hit them with a soft fair, for example, that's losing. So that's kind of the weakness that Game & Watch has. His attrition is really bad, because if you want to hit somebody who's running, you might put yourself in a position where you don't get any real follow-up and they get to actually punish you. So like most of your hits have to be really deliberate, strong hits and or spaced, and that's really hard to do against a running Fox. And then Fox, gets to up smash kill you at 70% because you're light. So, but Roy. Zane pretty much demonstrates that Roy probably should be in C tier, bottom of C tier, right below Link, I think. Roy should be number 19. I do think that Mewtwo belongs in C tier too, and D tier could be a whole lot smaller. But there's not that many people that play Mewtwo, and not be able people to understand Mewtwo. Like from talking to like people who main Spaceys and main Marth, they really know nothing about the character. Like they'll watch this character and and they're like, oh yeah, that looks really cool, and most everyone, if they try to play them, they just flounder and fall apart. So Mewtwo can definitely look a whole lot weaker than all these other characters, because it's harder to translate all of the skills that you learn with these other characters into Mewtwo. Like Mewtwo is one of the more unique characters. It's like between Yoshi and Mewtwo, really, and maybe Ice Climbers, for like the three like most different characters to apply skills to. Hey, what's up, Ford? What is good, my dude? I need to fix this real quick. Ford coming in. Everybody, shout out to Ford. If you don't follow him, follow him. This is a old school Arizona legend. And everyone should definitely respect the guy. He invented modern Falco. If almost everything that you like about Falco, this guy probably did it. So definitely give him a follow. Check him out. I see he's been streaming a little bit more often. All right, I wanted to give you a VIP, but for whatever reason, I probably just can't do it while I'm streaming. So I'm giving you a sword. All I remember is unplug your controller. Well, good for you, dude. I think most people, they remember that as me. So, very good. Anywho, moving on, we got Pichu, Ness, and Zelda. It was the best moment of my life, I bet. So yeah, Pichu, Ness, and Zelda. I do respect. I think the Pichu placement makes a lot of sense. Modern Melee, like Pichu's, very mobile. Doesn't quite have the same utility of Pikachu's up till, but like with how annoying Pichu can be, like to lock down, L cancels being really fast. approach speeds and everything, dash speeds being pretty good. It makes a lot of sense to put Pichu above Ness and Zelda. I think Pichu wins those head-to-heads, and then Pichu also has pretty good matchups against the space animals for chain throws. Come catch me. I don't play as Taj on NetPlay, so it wasn't me. Yeah, generally I'm Krogoth on NetPlay, and right now I'm Deep Crow. Oh shit! You trying to be Isaiah on NetPlay? Yeah, people can then be whoever they want to be on NetPlay, so... But yeah, it's really unlikely that if you run into a Taj on NetPlay, it's very unlikely that it's me, because I've only ever played as Taj on NetPlay when I entered the crew battle with Axe way back when Slippy came out, and I haven't done that since, so... If you see any Tajes on NetPlay, it ain't me. Until you see me streaming with the name Taj. That's the only time I'll be Taj. And the Kirby and Bowser are weird because I think like most Bowser mains don't think that Bowser's the worst, and I feel like Kirby mains probably don't think that Kirby is the worst. Both of these characters struggle real hard with top platform camping. But like Zelda, I also feel like Zelda deserves to be an F tier. Zelda's just so linear. And with modern melee, like as people get better at doing stuff out of shield, I just don't see. I feel like Zelda's just gonna do nothing but go down more and more. But that's just kind of that's my opinion. I always think that Zelda, because she's so one-dimensional, despite how good those one dimensions are, I feel like she's just not that great. Like Zeldas don't give me any more real genuine trouble over Bowser's and Kirby's. Like if I play Mewtwo, I'm of the three characters I'm most afraid of, I'm probably more afraid of Kirby than I am of Zelda. Bowser can be kind of tricky if I'm off, but I think as long as I'm confident and I'm on, Bowser's no big deal. And same for Zelda. Really, those characters are like chump checkers. So like if I just feel like I'm off or I'm missing wave dashes, then those characters are hard. Zelda does have one of the best down Bs in the game, if not the best down B in the game. So there is that. So for factoring in that, then Zelda's place is actually justified on the tier list. I mean, conceptually in tournament, you probably should, really. Because like the only times you generally pick Zelda in the first, like, because you can control when you can pick Zelda. That's kind of a weird thing to think about, right? Like you can control when you want to be this character or be this character at any point in the match. And because you can do that, like her relative placement can be anywhere, really, that Sheik's can be. Because there are times where being Zelda at certain positions, like against Puff at kill percent or Peach at kill percent, Zelda might be about as viable as Sheik, with like positional advantages and stuff. So currently Marth is not the best character in the game. Most Fox mains will think he is because most Foxes hate fighting Marths. But I think it's pretty demonstrable that Fox is number one. If you look at the sheer number of Foxes in the top 100, the only reason why all the Foxes aren't ranked higher is because of player skill discrepancies, and that Foxes are the most commonly upset character against all the rest of the cast because there's so many Foxes. Like you have to have your entry level to melee is so predicated on you being able to fight this guy in tournament, that if you can't, then you're not gonna make it very far most of the time. Fox is so unbelievably common that yeah, and it's interesting because Falco is really popular too, but yeah, Falco's numbers aren't nearly as high when you're looking at the top 30 as Fox's numbers are. But Falco's in general, like, you know, everyone runs into the net play Falco. It's because Falco is really fun to play, and Falco is really strong. It's just that the human element of Falco is what holds him back a lot more. Like, you get hard punished on Falco a lot easier than you do Fox, and all of it has to do with just the up B, really. Like, if Falco had fire on his up B, it would be a whole lot different. Like, another execution barrier for handling Falco and edge guards would change everything. But maybe distance too. Distance, absolutely. Like, if Falco's up B went as far as Fox's, I think Falco would probably be closer. Probably one, easily number 3, and then you might have a more of an argument here between two, Marth and Falco about who's better. Yeah, Falco has less chances. That's a good way to put it. Because of his kit. Fox gets more chances because his recovery is just that much better. And then raw kill power. Like, Falco can steal stocks, but most of them still involve you having to get a certain amount of percent. Fox can steal stocks against the majority of other top tiers at any percent. So, you think Kirby should be at least C? That's interesting. I don't think that. I think with Kirby with Falco lasers, if Kirby had permanent Falco lasers, we might see something different there. Like, if we modded melee, and I haven't seen enough of Pal Kirby to know if he would actually literally go up 2 tiers like that. But yeah, if we modded melee to give Kirby Pal Kirby with Falco lasers, I would probably put Kirby in C tier. Without that, even with like the movement speed buff that Kirby got, I'm really not sure if I would still put Kirby in C tier. Yeah, I mean, Kirby would definitely be better than Bowser and Pal, even though Bowser got the weight buff. I currently do not think that Mewtwo is better than Roy. I think, and with Zane, what Zane's been doing with Roy kind of shows that Roy is probably superior. Even though Mewtwo does a little bit better in the floaty against the floaties, Roy is just demonstrably better against fast fallers. So, I do think that Roy probably should be right above Mr. Game & Watch. Armada defending someone who lost against a good European Kirby and said it's comparable to losing to my Mewtwo. Dang. Oh yeah, because I think I remember something like Armada playing against some really good Kirby at some point. But yeah, Power Kirby is no joke. But I also think that Kirby is a type of character though that, like, that's with like almost all the bottom tiers. Like, when you run against a specialist, there's so many tricks and timings that they're used to that you're not used to. To where if you run into that for the first time, you can get embarrassed. You know, like, even my Kirby beat MacD, you know. So, like, it does. I don't know if that necessarily means anything, but so. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. Like, I think there's, like, well, for most part, I agree with a lot of different stuff there. But yeah, like, as I mentioned, like, several times through this whole thing, I think that the tier lists are dynamic, and I think that we should see, like, tiers go up and down more frequently, or characters moving around based on common use. Tournament results, as well as potential. So, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with this being the way it is right now, especially since this was pulled in 2020 before COVID hit. I think we would easily see that, you know, some characters are going to move up because of net play, and characters are going to move down. Yeah, I think tier lists should be dynamic, and have always been dynamic. As people learn more and understand more, the game will change. Like if you look at even chess, right? Like if you wanted to make a tier list of like chess openers, I guarantee you that 100 years ago, chess openers would be tiered a whole lot different than they are today with, you know, all the engines and stuff that people have. I think in any given sport. Yeah, E4 is busted, but everyone knows how to counter E4, so E4 is trash, right? E4 is the Fox opener, so you'd have to know how to fight E4 in order to get anywhere in chess. E4 is his Fox. I've been learning the Scandinavian defense against E4. Normally, I play the Pierce defense as black against E4, and it's been really interesting. I like it. This year will be Melee's 20th anniversary. Yep. Oh yeah, thank you for the follow, Makai.
Very good.
Puff. Puff D4.
Choose your character. Mewtwo.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Spades. Dude, Bon Cloud is so sick. Yeah, I love Hikaru. Bon Cloud is the don't test me of chess. It's the Roy opener. Smart the dog, thank you for the follow. Yeah, the tier list should be ordered based on how long it takes to unlock every character. Oh, imagine if all the unlockable characters were DLC characters. Oh my god, Melee would be a dead game. Oh, he lived. yeah, Wolf. Where will we put Wolf?
Mark, ready, go!
Ooh, watch your head. I remember initial impressions of Wolf is that he's more broken than Fox. And Leffen wanted to challenge Zane. But, alright, good night, Forward. Forward? Yeah, just from looking at Wolf, though, I haven't really played against Wolf that much, though, to be fair, so I really have no assessment. I have no good assessment of where I think Wolf should be. Like, Wolf seems like a character that should be, like, probably somewhere around Falco. Oh, shit. Have you seen the Kirby player, Captain Sparkles? I have not. Let's see, what was I saying? Is this IP trick full on the stage useful? Kind of. If they don't know, if they aren't ready for it, it's insanely useful because it's a free stock. But if they're used to it, then it's just 10%. And that's fine. It's 10%, and ah, my head. Yeah, 10% and possible stage advantage tempo, or at worst, I'm in a slight disadvantage, but nothing insurmountable. Captain Pretzel has a really good Kirby. So many captains. The Mewtwo can do the whoop whoop thing. It's not the same as in PM. If you generally watch my Mewtwo, I have my own particular type of teleport loop that you see me do. Like this one, the one I was doing while I was watching chat. Like that one. That one, if you do it, it's fully invincible in melee because there's a cooldown on the how quickly you can re-grab ledge in melee. How did I decide to get so good with Mewtwo?
Versus Mark.
Basically, Ford just left, but Ford was a big part of the reason why. Like I always liked Mewtwo and always kind of had one. I've had a Mewtwo, but Ford encouraged me to explore that character more thoroughly because he thought Mewtwo was my best character at the time when I played him in the tournament. I left. I gave him 3. But yeah, Mewtwo was just always a character that, like, I mean, I like Mewtwo. I was I like Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow a lot, and also a Pokemon fan. You know, come to my place, you see Gengar shit all the time. Mewtwo is one of my favorite Pokemon. I played against Caveman once when I went to Texas. It was in a low tier tournament, and he ended up beating me. I think he went Young Link against me, and I think he ended up winning against me. But yeah, at that tournament, I lost to Caveman and PC Chris, I think, in the low tier tournament. PC Chris went Luigi. So, but yeah, I did play him back in the day. One of my really early days. Hey, Naof, thank you for the host. Welcome. Pokemon the first movie? Yeah, I watched Pokemon the first movie. I wasn't a fan of Mewtwo because of the movie, but because of the game. I just thought Mewtwo was just kind of a really cool character. I tend to like characters that have a lot of power. Yo, Strider, what's goody? But bonus points if you know where that quote is from the title of the stream. Back in the day, Luigi was at like the very edge of low tier. But yeah, so yeah, like in Melee, Mewtwo is a character who's like, okay, I can win against a lot of people with Mewtwo, and there's occasions where like they'll beat my main, like they'll beat my Fox or they'll beat my Marth, but my Mewtwo will beat them, and a lot of it just had to do with like the way that I use the character, the way that I think about Melee, their lack of knowledge, and there's just like there's a number of variables that like make my Mewtwo work, but there's also a lot of times where my Mewtwo can't beat somebody and it's my Marth that whoops them, or almost any other character, because they fight really well against my Mewtwo. Like, because Mewtwo is not a character that I can just 4-stock people with very easily. Not in the same way that I can just 4-stock someone with Marth. So like the wins with Mewtwo are different, even if I might win almost as consistently. In tournaments, Mewtwo just is just like it's easier for me to like recenter and ground myself a lot of the time as Mewtwo. Whereas with Marth, if I'm like off, everyone can just like run me over, you know. If I'm like just not in the right headspace or whatever. So yeah, Mewtwo is just generally always a character that I would play if I felt like
Very good.
my other characters weren't working right.
Mewtwo. Versus
Love you.
Mark. Ready?
Lots of Mars tonight. I like this. That jab was the sickest jab. money match Zane. I'll never money match Zane. Zane would beat me in an extended set easily. As much as I love the Marth matchup, Zane is just too... He hits so damn hard. But if you ask Zane if he's played my Mewtwo, I think he remembers playing my Mewtwo because we went even. It was like right before he was gonna play Axe at Genesis. I think it was Genesis 6. It was either 6 or 7. I think it was 6. I was playing him on the side stream, and he was warming up to go play Axe, and so I hopped on and I gave him a couple of Mewtwo games, and the matches, first match, I think was like super close. I lost, and the second match I beat him like pretty soundly, but they were just friendlies. But it left a big impression on him. It left an impression on him, so I think he remembers. Like he wouldn't sleep on Mewtwo, and honestly, fighting as Roy and Marth are so similar in how Mewtwo fights against both characters, except that both like Roy is a little bit more vulnerable to crouch canceling than Marth is. I love Mewtwo's air dodge though, for sure. Mewtwo just has like some of the coolest like animations in the game, but I think Mewtwo is just like kind of an incomplete character. Like the special moves could have used more tuning. His weight is not quite where it probably should be. Like Mewtwo canonically is a heavy character. He should be heavy and floaty like Samus. That would help out Mewtwo a lot.
Choose your character.
Air dodge is not quite like the teleport, but the air dodge does have certain properties. Like it works as like kind of like a an aerial sidestep, if you will, because Mewtwo's sidestep has a lot of end lag. It comes out as fast as most of the characters' sidesteps at 2 frames, but it lasts way longer. So a lot of times when I think that a Marth is trying to set me up to like land a forward smash, I'll just intentionally jump in the air, like short hop, and then just kind of use air dodge to give me just the invincibility that I need to get through like a forward smash or get through an aerial. It's kind of a tricky defensive maneuver, but it works out pretty well a lot of times to like make up for the lack of a good sidestep. If Mewtwo had the same kind of sidestep that like Sheik and Fox have, or Link, then that would greatly help Mewtwo in a lot of ways. And if Mewtwo also had a better jab, like if Mewtwo had jabs that were similar to either Sheik's or Ganon's, like if Mewtwo's jab worked similar to Ganon's, that'd be nice. But I also kind of like Mewtwo's jab, and like even though it's like useless, like it's very like it has a very specific niche use in the scramble for like resetting people's positions against you, to where you kind of have this weird frame advantage. So Mewtwo's Marth's F throw is only good because Marth has Marth's forward smash. Like if Mewtwo had forward throw forward smash, that'd be sick. But just having Marth's forward throw does not make it any good at all, actually, in my opinion. Because Marth has Marth's dash speed, Marth has Marth's grab range, and Marth has Marth's forward smash. That's what lets forward throw be good. It's like, oh yeah, like Mewtwo, if Mewtwo had Fox's up throw, like, oh, that's kind of cool. He doesn't have this up air though. But Mewtwo's up throw is, as a finisher is cool. I do think I kind of wish back throw was as strong as Ness's, or stronger than. Well, like I wish Mewtwo's throws were like far and away more powerful than every other character's. But you know, it's just kind of the way it is. Oh yeah, so I don't know what I would change. Like I thought I knew what I would change about Mewtwo, but then like looking at PM, the changes that I added were kind of there, but then they weren't changed exactly the way I imagined them to be. And then they added other stuff that they ended up nerfing the things that I wanted added in the first place. So like like when they added the other shit, like the hover and teleport, acting out of teleport stuff. With the hover, they nerfed my playstyle to give like landing lag on teleport, even if you are in the air and stuff. So it's kind of lame. If Mewtwo's tailport box was removed, it would be significantly better. Spacing against basically a lot of the things that Mewtwo's want to do instinctively. Like for example, if I'm up against like Marth, you know, or even Sheik, right? Like, in order for my down tilt to work, they have to not be holding down, and I have to be at this range. Because if I'm even this much closer, then he gets to grab me on crouch cancel. So in order for me to like not die against Sheik and Marth, I have to space every down tilt like perfectly here. That's the only way that I can use it, and a -9 on shield. So like even if I space the down tilt on their shield, I'm at a severe frame disadvantage. So like if there are things I would change, I might change Mewtwo's like frame data for hitting certain moves on shield. So like down air, for example, if it was similar to like Captain Falcon's down air in terms of shield stun, or if a down tilt gave me like -5 on shield instead of -9. If my DJC forward air was even on shield, just like Falcon knee, because like you have to get this close, right, to land the forward air. So if I land forward air this close, I want frame advantage for that, because this is a good move at mid percents to break crouch cancels. Because normally the only thing I can do against crouch cancel is grab or neutral air, both of which are really slow. But forward air is also, like DJC forward air is also slow, but it's deliberate in my range. So I would like things like that to like help things that I might want to do to be more aggressive, but I can't be because of the way the game works. Like I have to space down tilt like this, otherwise every character in the game gets to punish me for free, and or kill me because their throw combos are superior. If they made down throw have guaranteed follow-ups, doesn't have to be like even if my best follow-up is like a long back air or something, like as long as if I got some kind of guaranteed follow-ups on my down throws, because I work so hard to throw, I would like that too. And then yeah, if you disjoint like his down, like if you disjoint his tail, then I can be like this close with down tilt now. And then my forward tilts are gonna be a lot more impactful against like as an anti-air against spaceys if I time it right. So like if you make stuff disjointed, like up tilt becomes super good for dealing with like then it becomes a mind game how they want to come down at you, and then this becomes really powerful now. Like if this was disjointed. Yeah, Mewtwo's aerial drift I feel like is fine. Like if Mewtwo could act out of teleport, that'd be a really cool gimmick. That would make Mewtwo really unique. I'm not sure how I'd feel about him having a melee. Like he doesn't need the hover. I would fix his special moves. Confusion should make me 0 on hit at the worst. If it gave me frame advantage, that'd be great. If it forced tech, if it always forced tech, that would be perfect to me. Like if I land this, like a 12 frame command grab, I should get a follow-up for it, in my opinion. Bowser gets one, I should get one too. Like Bowser gets that or a kill, I should be able to get something similar, in my opinion. They can not just jump. Not only can they just jump out of side B, they can back air you for free out of it. every character can just like do way more damage to you for landing this 12 frame move. Like they're positive. Like while I'm still twirling, once he hits that tumble, he's able to hit me at that point at any time. Like look, if I I'm gonna play this. Here, I'm gonna hit a level 9 Falco with 4B, right? This is what happens. And that's it, free. That's a computer doing it. Like they don't even do it all the time, and they can. Like if you watch old videos of Axe, he knows. So like most of the time I hit people with confusion, they just don't know what they can do because they don't fight Mewtwo. But like anyone who played like a lot of like single player melee against like level 9 bots and stuff, like everyone knows like you can't use confusion. It's actually a fake move. It's not good at all. It's only good because people are ignorant. So I would fix that and then fix aerial disable as well. Aerial disable shouldn't let people act frame 1 in the air, and it should also force tumble. If it doesn't, then it should do more damage so that I'm not wasting my time hitting someone with a 1% move. Like either make it do like 20% damage for me landing it, which would be great, or make it more viable in other situations. Also, it should hit lower. It should hit all crouches should be able to be hit by disable. Alternatively, if you left it as is, I wouldn't mind if it always ignored shield properties and kept the conditional facing opponent property. So if I disabled somebody who's holding shield, or if someone is even sidestepping, disable should always work. If anything, it also should be called Hypnosis, because that's actually what it is, but the official trophy name is Disabled. Side B does not reflect, it only deflects, and yeah, I think that should change too. If you could reflect with Confusion, that would be a big quality of life buff for Mewtwo as well. People would have to, the Samus matchup becomes a whole lot different if I got to do that. Because the end lag of Confusion is really good for the deflecting the projectiles, and so if that also reflected, it reduces the amount of vulnerability if you time it right. So yeah, there's all kinds of really good stuff there. It's kind of like Cape, really, in that regard. Except a little bit slower, which is fine. So yeah, Mewtwo special moves need a lot of attention. Like most of the hitboxes and stuff, like, yeah, that'd be nice to change them, but those are less of a priority to me, I think. I would like a heavier Mewtwo. Because I use because tap jump is always on, I want to be able to act out of it regardless. Oh no. Can I wave dash IRL? Do I want to keep playing someone like that? I don't know. I'll give him one more.
Ready? Go!
These double shines. Killing me. Oh yeah, and to answer your question, Mike. Hey, thank you for playing. That's cheers. So yeah, no, we're not sober tonight, but I'm just you know, I'm just out here, you know. But yeah, cheers. Cheers. What did I miss? I missed something out here? I don't think so. I haven't seen Teridian's videos. Yeah, changing fall speeds, blah blah blah. I thought making YouTube videos for my stream. I mean, I upload my full, well, a lot of my full streams I upload to YouTube, but I haven't thought of like editing them up and chopping them up and stuff like that. I don't really have the time, and I'm not big enough to really think about doing anything like that. But I have thought about making some clips from like some of my educational portions of my streams, like where I'd like teach, like where I had previous streams where I like taught people like, hey, this is how you moonwalk, or this is how you T-drop, or whatever. But yeah, I just haven't really gotten around to like chopping them up and trying to do anything with those. A word? Right on, yeah. If someone wants to do volunteer work, by all means. Yeah, by all means. Absolutely. Yeah, we could talk. We can definitely talk later about that. Ooh, Samus. Samus is a hard matchup when I'm not sharp. Today I don't feel sharp. Yeah, I missed my jump cancel grab there. Double forward smash. Like, normally all that's like super unsafe, but like so off that you have to hit those. And that's where Samus can be really annoying. Ah. Like when I fought against Duck a couple years back. Everything's just a little bit off. You can kind of dodge missiles with down tilt. You can Z-axis dodge them. What that means is, if you down tilt at the right timing, as Mewtwo like turns his head, he goes into the Z-axis, and the missiles bypass his head. shit out of here. I wanna go outside. Ah, that was a bad DI. I wonder if I can Omps attack that. Something I like never really practiced all that much. Genjutsu, look into my eyes. Damn. Oh, my head.
Choose your character versus.
Oh boy.
Ready?
Love how random always gives him the counter pick too. There it is. Finally. Finally got the punish I wanted. Even though it didn't come out the way it should have. At least got the wave dash I wanted. Da 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 da. Shadow stepping. Oh wow. This matchup is kind of hard for Mewtwo if I'm like not sharp, but it's not too bad. Like as long as I like, feel like my timing is good and my spacing is good against like the missiles, then it's pretty manageable. But if I'm off, then like, and Samus gets like a % lead and has like better neutral than Samus, then it can be really tricky. Yeah, it really just depends on the Samus's playstyle. Like when I play like Daryl back in the day, like I would beat Daryl with like I beat him pretty soundly a lot. And then like Duck, like I'll beat Duck. Like when I'm playing Sharp, like I played him like after I played Daryl, and it was really easy. But then like playing him cold, not good. Samus's charge shot is superior, and damage and speed. The thing that makes Mewtwo's really just different is it has the curvature stuff, so like it can do weird shit like shield stab more frequently. But like for consistency, Samus is just definitely just superior. That's just something a ball that goes, it's very large, it goes straight, is just more practical than a slow ball that curves around. Because like because the trajectory is always the same, you know.
Choose your character.
Side B can hit people in the air and on the ground. The side B is a command grab, so it can work on airborne people too.
Versus Samus. Ready? Go!
Yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly is it's a great album. I love all of Kendrick's albums, which has been interesting because the Twitter discourse recently is like a lot of people seem to not like Damn, and I'm really surprised by that. Like I thought Damn was a great album. I mean, I think people are really fond of Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly is like the album I think that like people didn't like that at first, but like it grew on them as they listened to it more. At least that's how it did for me too. Like there's so many songs on there, I'm like I gave it one listen and I'm like, you know, it's alright. And then I listened to it more, I'm like, I love this fucking song. Like I was like, once I like really started to understand the intent of the song and everything. Or of the songs, plural, I guess. So many missiles. That's a really good instant ledge forward airs that I'm not used to getting hit by those. Hey, what's up, C-Soup? Do I have any Pokemon merch? I absolutely have Pokemon merch IRL. I have a bunch of Gengar Pokemon merch, Gengar shirts. Really buffering those side steps out. You already used that. Yeah, Damn won a Pulitzer, you know, like I feel like maybe people weren't giving it the same treatment that people were giving the other albums.
Choose your character.
Yeah, because like Damn For me, Damn felt like it had a lot of the same kind of layers that To Pimp a Butterfly did, but it also had more of the blend of the bangers that Good Kid, Mad City had. Like as its own album, I enjoyed it a lot. But I think a lot of people just maybe are purists and they like it when an album does one thing or another. I don't know what's going on in their heads, but I like Damn, and I'll say that I think Damn is my favorite album that he's released. Of all of his albums, I thought he'd just gotten better over time. But call me crazy. I hope that doesn't take away from how much I love the other albums, because I love them all. But it's sick. Yo, what's up, Krill? What's up? I mean, but people on the internet will tell you there's a wrong answer, and almost everyone that I've seen popularly believes that Damn is his worst album, which honestly is a testament to it. Because their arguments the other albums are 10s and that one's a 6 to them. Damn, shit, I mean, maybe a 9 at least. Goddamn. Working on movement. That's what's up. Yours always gonna be To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, I think To Pimp a Butterfly, as far as the art of that album, everything how it was put together, all the songs, the meanings, how relevant that album has been in the last few years, especially. To Pimp a Butterfly is an excellent album. That album is it's art, and it's it's for a movement, more so than his other albums. So there's a certain type of fondness for that album more than the other ones.
Mewtwo versus Falco. Ready? Go!
Shadow Claw 1, baby. It's real. It's just fear, intimidation. Yep, nice try. He deserves to make it for that. It's so crazy how Falco's whenever they turn up, they just the stock can just evaporate from you. And it's you're always wondering, what is keeping Falcos from doing this all the time? Falco is such a volatile character. I at least respect Falco, because Falco has to own up to the vulnerability a lot more. Being a 6-frame jumper, having that recovery. Even though the recovery's not even that bad per se, it's more that if you mess up, you're dead. because like Falcos have so much technology now. I didn't mean to taunt like that, but when you see it, you know.
Choose your character.
GG's. Yo, thank you for everybody who's tuning in, though. Yeah, I never really expect this many people to be watching me stream. Every time I'm always surprised. I'm always expecting like a few bots and a couple of viewers here and there, but yeah, thank you for everybody who's been chilling the stream, chatting, and lurkers. I always appreciate lurkers. Epic Coda. Let's go. Shoutouts to lurkers. I love lurkers. Aw, don't call me a good streamer. That'll make me feel bad. I'm definitely not a good streamer, but I still appreciate you all the same. As pleasant as I heard. Aw, no. People talk about me, that makes me even more nervous. Although, to be fair, I hope it's nothing but bad things. Hope it's nothing but bad, because I'm the most degenerate, most gutter. Oh, shucks. Gregory, keep talking to me like that, I'm gonna take your last name. Watch out. Oh, I always say, I would touch the darkness inside of you. Yeah, thank you for the follow, Phil. Damn, that sucks.
Choose your character.
Okay. It's an interesting place to rage quit, but whatever. Maybe he just had to go. Sometimes you gotta go too. That's fair. And that might not be a rage quit. It might just be like, oh shit, quit. Like, up too late. Mom's like, what are you doing on the computer? And then, you know, he has to. Like, oh. You know, sometimes it'd be like that. There's kids who play, you know. I don't know what their circumstances are all the time. So he didn't quit because I didn't touch him, you know. It's probably a mom quit. Mom quit. Could be a GF quit. You know, some people have relationships like that. Unfortunately. I'm fortunate in that I can play video games and no one will make me quit out. That's sick. I'm not playing a fucking. I'm sick of playing this Mewtwo because he's not hitting me enough. Maybe that's it. It's like, I just can't hit this guy. So he just wants to swing his sword and collect money. And I can feel that. You know, some people are just on here late night, like, I'm not trying to deal with some Mewtwo that's being all untouchable. Huff is such a hard matchup. This is the hardest matchup in the entire game. That was the sickest follow-up I've ever done against Puff in my life. Oh, if I did it low. Normally plus like the jump there. So I like to shoot it just a little bit high. That was a bad dash attack. That was an ambitious dash attack that I should never have done. That's so unsafe. I'm glad he was scared. Like, jabbing on the shield that close. Never winning. Shadow Claw. Meds. Yeah, it's not a song. It's the poem, often recited during most of the songs on the To Pimp a Butterfly album. But what's good, Medicine Man? Welcome. How you doing tonight? Bye.
Choose your character. Versus
Michael Pena.
ready. Go.
How's the movie set? How's the next Ant-Man coming? Alright, this is gonna be a put to the test. If Mewtwo is better than Zelda. I feel like Zelda should be one of the worst characters in the game. But because she can't chase. So, like, her range is what makes her, like, okay. But she is dangerous for Mewtwo, though, because Mewtwo is so light. Ant-Man 3 will be out 2022. Started filming already? That's what's up. Keep it up, keep it up. Dude, there's those, like, if I'm, like, just a little bit off, like, those back airs connect, right? Like, that back air would have connected if I was... If I was a little bit worse. But those cross-up back airs are what's killing her. You can't do that. Dash attack, yeah. Dash attack is like a poor man Peach's dash attack. Her grab is slower than adult Link's by a frame. Like, she has really bad stats. Her air dodge is really good though, so same category as Peach's for the directional portion. Comes out really fast. Invincibility is the same. Everyone has the same 4-framer. Or is it? Yeah, I think it is actually. Yeah. Your grab is same as my command grab. So she does get good follow-ups from it. Potentially good follow-ups against mid-fallers. Like, if she hits me with, like, a stray back air, I die here, so that's why she's, like, kind of scary. That's why I think people are rating her higher than like, I think is she rated higher than Ness on the twos? I'll double check. Yo, jab check. I think this kills. Yeah, Zelda's just below Ness. Yeah, I feel like it's hard to say if I think that Ness is, or not Ness, if Zelda is better than Kirby and Bowser. Part of me thinks that Zelda might be the worst character in the game, but the fact that she can turn into Sheik, though, I think makes it impossible for her to be the worst character in the game. There's the Peach, though. Ooh. That was an instant shield grab. Ooh! Did the baby hack dash with it. The Peach is a lot different than the others. We might have ourselves a character tonight. Alright. I'll turn it up. I'll turn it up. Don't stop. There we go. It's starting to cook a little bit, you know? But I'm sorry. Yeah, Zelda's just not a very fun character to play. Like, my Zelda's pretty alright, but
Choose your character. Pikachu versus Yoshi.
GG's Toshi. Oh. Oh. Alright, how's everybody doing tonight? Just woke up? That's what's up. Damn, where are you from, Phil? Oh shit. Aximus Maximus? On the Lurker? What's up, Jeff? Thanks for hopping in and looking at little old me in the gutter.
Thank you.
Yeah, I play chat all the time. Go ahead and hop on, Neolfa. Run them things. Give me that code. And oh, Mellow Mind, thank you for the resub. 3 months! Champion. Thank you for being part of the Shadow Claw Covenant. Reese Britt. Thank you for the follow.
Very good.
Oh, Phil, if you're from AZ, you worked at night. I'm assuming you worked at Nightlife then, if you're waking up at midnight.
Mewtwo.
Mellow Mind, how you doing? Zon staying for 5 more minutes? What's up? Alright. Well, thank you for being here anyway, at any point. Appreciate you just existing, you know? It's hype shit right there. Y'all, sleep just blows, so you always put on melee. That's what's up. Middle of the night, comfort melee to help you fall back to sleep. I can help with that, being one of the most boring people. I'm just kidding. But I feel you. You're tired but like learning Mewtwo? That's what's up. Learning Mewtwo is very interesting. I mean, getting really good close matches, like winning those really clutch matches with Mewtwo is also really fulfilling. Like more than like any other character. Because Mewtwo has to work so much harder than everyone else. Like, you don't get 0% kills with Mewtwo very often, unless, you know, you steal it from Battlefield or something, but even then, like, none of it's true. Like, the other characters get, like, true 0% kills. Like, you know, Marth and Fox get those, Falco to a certain degree. But Mewtwo doesn't really get, like, these sick-ass gimps. Like, you're fighting for every percent to kill them off the top, you know, and then your damage output isn't the same as even Peach's, who has to do something similar, but Peach has, you know, a whirlwind of priority, 2-frame jabs and float cancels, and a really strong projectile. But you know, it is what it is. Taking a long time. Yeah, I'll try again. It's 5:07, right? We can try again. Requeue. My internet's pretty good, so even if you're on the East Coast, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Like, I'm pretty sure I've played with people from the East Coast. Jeff, what are you still doing up, if you're still in chat? No, I'm not on a VPN, but yeah, Nailf, if you're on a VPN, maybe that's not, I don't know. Yeah, we're not. It looks like we're not connecting. That's too bad. Oh well. You have the right number in there, right? Right, NAYO 507, yeah. Okay. Well, I guess it wasn't meant to be.
Choose your character.
Maybe another time then.
Mewtwo.
Tuesdays. I don't think anything is more satisfying than hitting those sick jabs in the middle of combos. Because no one expects them, you know? And they almost always get me a second follow-up.
Ready?
What happened to AZ players? They're so damn nice? Nothing. Because AZ players are not nice. I'm not a nice person. Sounds like something a self-aware person. No, it's not one of those. I am actually genuinely evil. Like, please. I am civil though. That's you're confusing nice with civil. I think that's where the disconnect is. I am not nice. I'm civil. I'm the greatest evil. Never forget that. I'm lawful evil. What's up, Sozen? Damn, I almost died from that. I would have been so mad. Shine comes out frame 1, Reflector frame 4, baby. We'll take it. I think it's frame 4.
Choose your character.
Hey, thank you for playing. Yeah, Shine's frame 1. That's why it's busted, but the reflector doesn't start reflecting until frame 4, if I recall correctly. So it was just in that moment where it's just in between frames. In between frames. I forget what frame Mars counter comes out. I think it's either frame 4 or 5 for the invincibility start. If it's frame 4, then Mars counter would be similar to how Reflect would work. But if it's 5, then I guess it's a little bit slower. To the Shine Mine nonsense, I don't know. I don't know the actual game physics of how that works, but it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me because the attack portion is fundamentally different than the reflecting portion, because they are coded differently. So I don't know. It probably has something to do with that.
Versus Falco. Ready? Go!
This guy doesn't shine much. Doesn't roll. Deadly. Zero Shiki? And that mid shorten? Amazing. Why is Mewtwo better than Roy? I think Mewtwo... I don't think Mewtwo is better than Roy right now, but I think conceptually what would make Mewtwo better than Roy is, probably, like, Mewtwo's defense. Like, even though Mewtwo is very light and very floaty, Mewtwo doesn't get hit with the same type of cheese. Mewtwo gets cheese from, like, positional stuff because Mewtwo has strange vulnerable hitboxes. Whereas Roy can get cheese a lot with defense, like crouch cancels and stuff, and then led to like edge guarding positions and chain throws. Like Roy's weight is like really nasty for getting chain throwed and stuff. Oh my god, I'm not hitting that dash. See, everyone else gets so much time when I down air shield. I down air shield and I'm negative. It's negative as fuck. I forgot what I'm at. I think I'm like -9 down air. Ah, I dropped that combo.
Choose your character.
Yeah, I have to double check Uncle Punch. But yeah, it like basically like almost everything that I have is just not that good. Forward air. Oh man. Forward air is actually one of the best things I have on shield. It's -4 if I land a really tight forward air. Dude, these laser jabs are. Oh, I was really hoping that would hit. Dash away. Oh. Yeah, Mewtwo's command grab is negative on hit. It's very tragic. Ah, I didn't. If I didn't doubt myself in that little bit, I think I would have got that grab. Ah, I didn't get the dash back. God, Upsoul, so much damage. I hate that that didn't hit so close. Oh, damn it. Just a little bit off. That's so sad.
Very good.
And thank you for the follow, Castile.
Very
Choose
good.
your character. Pikachu.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at frame data real quick.
Falco.
Let's
Ready?
take a look at this shit. That's rude. Alright, let's take a look at this thing.
Training mode.
Attack on shield. Alright, so look. So like, I have to be here. That's 9 frames, right? Like, I down tilt here? Or no, it's like... I guess if I double down tilt? No. So that's safe. Here's still safe. That's losing. That's losing. Alright, I'm gonna turn off the... Alright, let's go back here.
Training mode.
So yeah, down tilt doesn't do much. Like, it's really low percent. It's easily crouch cancelable to a pretty high percent. Like, you have to space pretty well against it. Like, this is not too bad though. That's bad. Like an advancing down tilt like works against you so badly. Like when you way dash forward down tilt, like it like leaves you open. Just rough. So like you have to like be wary. You have to like be worried about your momentum, and then you're good. Like this running dashing down tilt, like I have to like space it like so perfectly. Like too much momentum forward is just losing, which sucks. So you do like I have so little time. I can buffer a side step, and that's like the only defensive option I have when I DJC forward air. It has to be a tight DJC forward air. I get 4 frames, so I do the tightest DJC forward air I can humanly do for myself. I don't know if I can do it tighter than that, but that's like the tightest that I've gotten. 10 frames, yeah, and that's landing behind him, so... So let's try... So 6 frames, super low and behind them. 6 frames. So yeah, like the majority of down airs you'll hit are probably going to be like somewhere around 9 frames, I think. Like usually the ones that I hit. Like... Yeah, going behind his shield. 7 frames. That's so hard. Like the cross up is nice, but almost no one will let me get that on them. Like Mars are gonna push something when you invade their space. Most like good Mars will. Like I almost never get something where I can like do this in front of them because they can just do something out of shield. Like sure hop fair, it's gonna be faster than almost all my buttons. And even if I push a button that's faster, like the hit isn't good enough. Yeah, forward tilt and oh wow, that's bad. So forward tilt. Minus 18 doing a forward tilt poke, right? Like that's punishable with a short hop fair at a shield. Like this is why you can't do this against most people. Like people are like, oh yeah, you could just like forward tilt against like you're losing. This is losing. Hit 13 frames. Side B is terrible. We've been over that. I can't show you the frames because it won't calculate it on this exercise. Eight frames, low back air. Like, super low. That's about as low as I can get it. 8 frames seems to be about right. Missed L cancel. Yeah, 8 frames if I do that. Why don't you just grab them? Oh, because I'm showing like what it looks like if I hit someone's shield. Because the problem too is like at certain ranges, right? Like he can grab me. Like if he grabs me right here, like I'm like this is his grab range. This is my grab range. Like I'm in his grab range right now. So like the idea is to see like what you can get away with. Like having an active box helps reduce the likelihood that you get grabbed. So like what you're practicing is like how to get past shield grabs. So yeah, how do you counteract shield and neutral? So like usually if you sense fear, then you just go grab. Right? That's what you usually do when you see someone shielding. But you don't always get that. So like if you know that if they're waiting for you to possibly look to go in, because like while grabs are unreactable for the majority of humans, dash grab is more reactable because you can see the dash, and then when you see the dash, you know that they have now entered in your general space to where you can be where I'm in their range. So you generally, that's why people dash dance, because it's harder to react to when they actually want to go in, and so then you have the mind, like that's where the neutral game comes in. Like it's like, okay, now what do? Do I retreat fair because that's pretty safe? Do I just wave dash out a shield? Do I advancing forward air? So you're basically looking at ways that you can do unreactable things to them without compromising your position. Because like if I just decide to always go and grab, they could read that, right? So you want to be able to have other tools to mix that up. I mean, with Mewtwo, you have to learn to be really good at grabbing like that, because that's how you kill people. Is being able to play this game in front of their shield is how you win with Mewtwo. If you can't do this, you're not going to get very far. Right, being able to play outside of their dash range, like the grab range, just like kind of staying there in and out, like, and then invade their range. Like that's how you win if you get that position. If they're not in a position where you're sure you're gonna get the grab, or if you want something else to keep them on their toes, that's when you space stuff like this. Like spacing down tilt is one of the best things you can do. Because muscle Mars, you know, as you can see there, Mars can get naturally shield stabbed pretty easily. But as you can see, like, you have to, in order to not get shield grabbed, you can't spam the down tilts either. And it has to be spaced super well. So that's basically why you practice certain things. But neutral air is like the best thing that, if you can invade their space in neutral air, that's the best thing you can do. Because you already have a hitbox out. So if they try to grab, they're most likely going to get hit by that first. And then neutral air is it's like the best thing you can do on shield, because it's a multi-hit that tends to shield stab a lot. So mostly he's getting hit because the program is programming to shield grab all the time. So that's why he's getting hit instantly. But like it still shield stabs the majority of people a lot. So like it's really good to like neutral air and then like use the auto cancel timing. So like when you do like a full hop nair, you just kind of fast fall and then get your auto cancel, and you can follow up with something else and kind of stay frame positive against most people. So yeah, like if you know that you can expose like their foot psych exposed, and you might be able to forward tilt. If you're watching for ASDI down, that's this might be a little bit safer than the down tilt. Like it has a slightly more range. But down tilt is like your best combo starter, so you generally always want to do that. But forward tilt is like, okay, I'm just gonna take the low. Like if you're playing Tekken, like it's like, okay, I'm just gonna hit him low. I know I'll hit him, but I'm not gonna get a follow-up on it, but I get something for it, and it's kind of safe if it hits. But as you can see by the shields, like it's minus 18, they get to do a lot to you for for that. So they get to short hop forward air you if they're frame perfect, so that's rough. So yeah, -4 on DJC up air, low DJC up air and behind on shield. So yeah, it's hard to get frame advantage with Mewtwo. If Mewtwo had more things that were meaty, say I'm -6 with a dare on the back of his shield, you know, that's about as good as they can get. But so is this on back of shield, right? So like if you get to cross up, that's like crossing up as with spacies is the best thing you can do, because most characters don't have really quick out of shield punish faster than cross ups with almost any character. Because like short hop back air out of shield is pretty slow for the majority of characters, or it doesn't get the hitboxes aren't in the right position to hit most people that have crossed up, because most of the time the back air hitboxes hit like high and they don't hit low. So there you go. That's why we do the things that we do, because they're just not practical. If people happen to know what they're doing or they're mashing stuff. Like dealing with mashers is something you have to learn to do with Mewtwo a lot too. It's like you don't want to lose to people that you're better than, so you have to make sure that whatever you're doing accounts for what the majority of mediocre players are going to do. So if they're going to be looking to shield grab you really heavily, you need to learn how to play around shield grabs. If they're looking to forward smash you repeatedly, you need to learn how to guard against forward smashes and punish them out of shield. Mars forward smash punish out of shield is really easy. But like Fox's is really hard. You only have a 2-frame window to punish Fox's up smash. But Mars forward smash is super punishable. That's why the Marth matchup is not as bad as Fox. It's because Fox is extremely volatile. You get blown up for so much more than Marth, where Marth has to guess a lot more. And then your edge guard on Marth is flowchart's really easy. Double up smash. I hate it here. Full hop rising. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Wow! What an up air. Oh no, I almost died there. You could have shined me and I would have died, and I would have been very sad, and I would have lost the match. But now I stand a chance. Oh my god, a hit? Okay. I did not expect that ink. Oh, I had the right timing and everything. That was a couple frames off too. That wasn't true. He started. Hey, thank you guys for the follow, Castile and Nathan. I don't know if I gave you a shout out, but appreciate you guys. Oh, 3 up smashes. Like, it's so hard to deal with it because I got power shield and it's even harder to get the punish right. It's down till outranges mine. It comes out 2 frames slower than mine, so that's kind of nice. What's my most disagreed matchup rating, character versus character? It's hard to say. It's probably either Mewtwo Puff, Mewtwo Fox, or Mewtwo Marth. Mewtwo Fox and Puff in the direction of, I think Mewtwo Jigglypuff is the worst matchup in the game. But that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. It's pretty bad though. Like, conceptually, like I think the main problem that people have is that like most puffs just like aren't cruel enough, or they don't know how to be cruel enough in the matchup. Wow, he had frames on that. That sucks. Shit. This guy's swinging for the fences. You ever play Naruto Clash of Ninja 2? No, I played I don't remember which Naruto it was. I think it was a third one of those like early Naruto games. Why did that trade? Side B is static, so the vulnerability of the frames is always the same. Whether that 0 or 9 or 99. It never changes. Man, foxes just love the cheese when they're down like that. Just grab, and just try to. Oh, why am I not? Oh, I almost died. I held up. I mean, good players do it too. Like, it just happens a lot to me, though. Yeah, I found the net play up tilt. Honestly, like every character has a net play up tilt. Except maybe Mewtwo's, because Mewtwo's is pretty conditional.
Choose your character.
Oh, Castile, you might have quit out. I mean, yeah, a lot of people quit out on me tonight. That's all good. GG's. Alright,
Ready? Go! Mewtwo!
when I used to play Royal, everyone would quit. Yeah, I mean, some people just want to have more mindless like matches against like fast fallers. Like they just want to play against someone they know they can combo because that's just what they're looking for. You know, that's fine. You know, everyone can play for whatever reason they want. But we drink to rage quit, so that's what I'm playing for. Because, I mean, it's also, hey, GG's Sad Logic. I think you're Nina, right? I'm assuming you're Nina. But yeah, like, it's crazy how often people, hey, thank you for the follow. I think like some people just don't even want to bother the matchup, thinking like, oh, it's not worth my time because I'm never gonna run into this character in tournament. But I mean, how funny would it be if that's, you know, who beats them in tournament because they didn't know. But to be fair, you know, playing against someone like me is an exception. The majority of Mewtwo's that you run into probably aren't going to be as big of a deal, but there's still some pretty good Mewtwo's heavy hitters out there. So, like, you might as well, like, you're on Slippy, like, unless you're just playing to only play against Fox or Falco or something. Like, it's always a good idea to learn to like, you know, play against anybody who shows up, because you never know what they're capable of. They might show you something new. They might just destroy you in the matchup, and you'll be glad that you had that practice, because when you play them in tournament, yeah, if you didn't have that experience, then you would have gone and floundered and had tournament jitters against like a DK who's just like doing 0 to deaths on you.
Their instructor is speaking.
Luigi versus Falco's wildly over-exaggerated in Falco's favor. Saw that Luigi Kid clip and thought that was the matchup. Oh, I don't know about. Yeah, I guess I haven't seen that. I feel like Luigi Falco is not that bad. It can get kind of bad when Luigi's off stage, but that's usually how it is against all the top tiers. So I guess what you mean by like matchups that people think that are really bad but aren't that bad. Yeah, like Mewtwo Marth I don't think is as bad as people think it is. Jigglypuff Peach is another one. That's been changing lately with LOD, and mostly just because of online though. I'm curious to see if people would feel the same way on CRT, so against Hungrybox. Yeah, it's hard to say. Hard to say what other matchups are like, oh yeah, this is just straight up unwinnable. I also feel like the numbering system that people tend to use is not, like, a lot of people are really, they're scared to hard commit to 10s. So like, they'll say Martha's 6'4", right? And it's like, okay, cool. But usually when people say 6'4", I perceive 6'4" as the same way that people say, like, oh, it's like 55-45. I'm like, no, it's 6'4". If it's 55-45, there's the advantage is like, you might as well, you round up or you round down. Like, you say it's 50-50, or you say 60-40. It's a slight advantage. Like, don't be a coward with using, like, you know, 5s to just try to describe matchups. Like, it's 60-40, 70-30. Own up to it, and it's okay. 70-30s aren't even that terrible in the grand scheme of things either. Like, Mewtwo Fox is probably 7-3. Fox's favor. And as you can see, like, you know, Mewtwo can do okay in it. It's just it's a matchup knowledge thing. Like in Street Fighter, you see people play matchups like that all the time, where it's 7-3, but they win. They find a way. It's because like they play their ass off. You know, doesn't mean that the matchup's insurmountable. The Melee is not such a shallow game that you can't like any character can
take a game off of every character. There's no 100-0 matchup out there. Like, if someone plays well and someone's not playing well, like, the human element always makes a matchup doable. If you assume that everyone's perfect, then that's when you get the numbers that people are talking about. And if everyone's perfect, Marth Fox is not 6'4", Marth. It's Fox 100-0. Fox is 100-0 against everybody. Like, there's a reason why people make Smash bots with Fox and not with Marth. But yeah, like, Mewtwo Puff is probably 8-2 though. Sometimes you drown when you see how deep a character is. You feel like you know so little. I mean, there's so much to learn in Melee. But I mean, there's a lot, like, the thing is, you want to build a good foundation, right? So like, try not to, like, it's easy to be overwhelmed with all the information, but the foundation that you build works for just about every character. Like, even though like Yoshi's like my worst character, if I were to just play Yoshi, I'd probably still do okay against a lot of people. You know, I have no control over them. If I play Ices, it'll look ugly as fuck, but I'll still probably beat people with my Ices too, you know? Like, if you have a solid enough foundation, like, the thing you're learning are the nuance, like, all those little small interactions, where it's like, oh, like, we just traded up tilt versus, like, forward air. Those little interactions, those are the little things that you learn from being a character main, and that's where you can learn to, like, get setups that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise, and vice versa. Like, that's how you learn the matchups, is like the weirder interactions, or how to deal with the heavy strategies. Like, Fox is running and lasering. Like, okay, so what do I actually do with that with this character? That's really hard. So like, how do I maintain control of my character in such a way that I can at least play against this, even though I'm losing in this position? How do I make the best out of it? Because really, you're always, like, against Fox, you're always going to be losing neutral. You're perpetually losing against Fox at character select. And it's once you get your touch against Fox, that the matchup evens out again. And that's why Marth is such a problem for Fox lanes. Like, they don't grasp that concept that they don't need to get hit. They're losing because they're not perfect. Fox players outplay themselves. So you're fighting to make sure that people don't touch you, and that everyone's just fighting to touch you. And interactions with every other character are more nuanced because everyone else isn't Fox. Now you have interactions where you have like percentage exchanges, and you have percentage breaks where when you can like start using other moves become more viable. If they're holding down against moves that like a couple percentage before would have let them crouch cancel, and then they get forced knockdown, and you know that, all of a sudden the game opens up. You have access to a wider range of moves. That's why being at higher percentage, it changes the way that everyone has to play. Every move that people throw out when you're at high percentage matters more than when you're at zero. I think a lot of the Fox thing is ego, yeah. Foxes just don't want to admit that they're getting outplayed. But I think the matchup is pretty close to even. Like, I can say like the matchup spread can change, just like in fighting games. Like when you find out different things, they can go up and down. If Foxes want to say it's 6-4 right now or whatever because they haven't figured out X, Y, and Z, I mean, all the power to them. I'm not really convinced of that. It's like what they're complaining about is not being able to get consecutive up airs anymore, even though they have one of the best grab. Like, Marth's grab range is great, but Fox has the second fastest dash in the game. So like, Fox's effective grab range is pretty dang good too, because you grab out of dash. Like, that's why all the people who have fast dashes have really good grab games. Like, Marth's grab range is great. So like, if you're getting shield grab, but like, what makes it really good too is that he has a third fastest dash. So like, Sheik's grabs are so good. They're both the same speed, and Sheik's is like barely shorter than Marth's. And Falcon, like, everyone knows Falcon is a great, like, his grab range is short, but you're not going to say that Falcon is a great grab game. He's the fastest character in the game. His grab game is OP. That's why Pikachu is viable. Pikachu has the lowest head-to-head grab range in the game. Hey, what's up, Flinchy? Lowest head-to-head grab range in the game from Pikachu, but also runs as fast as Marth and Sheik.
You can get grabs with Pikachu. The only time your standing grab is effective is if you're shield grabbing. That's why Kirby and Puff are really good, because their grab ranges beat Sheik's in the head-to-head. And they're already really low to the ground. So Marth's grab is also less effective, because they can crouch under Marth's grab. And so the effective grab range dynamic changes. Like, there's so many things in a neutral that people aren't really considering when the Fox and Marth matchup. It's like, yeah, now you have to up throw back air, but do you understand, like, the positional advantage you get from that now? Do you understand that you're one step closer to them never being able to crouch cancel you anymore? Like every hit counts. Like, as a Mewtwo main, my perspective of, like, percentage matters so much more than everybody else's, because I kill from percent. Like, I need to get people to an exact percent to make sure that my one move is guaranteed to kill from my grabs, because I don't have guaranteed grab follow-ups, and most other characters do. So, like, I have to make every percentage count with this character. So, end of rant. Sorry for all of that. But I hope you guys gain some more insight, and try not to, like, you know, don't make excuses, you know? You just play. So this guy's just crouching in. I crouch cancel back. Back rolls away. Yo, that was kind of sick though. That's a good one to quit on. Like, I hit him. See, that's the neutral. That's how you play neutral against Marth, right? Like, he couldn't push any button. Right, every button I pushed was just a little bit better than him. Even though he has the better buttons, Marth has better moves. He couldn't push the buttons he wanted to do. He held down, which is a great strategy against low tiers. But that's how you beat somebody. When you know what they're doing, you systematically deconstruct how they're holding down against you. You have to understand what people's intents are, and that's how you can play around it. Melee is such a great game because you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to overcome bad matchups because you can get insight into what people want to do. Hey, what's up, Luigi Toilet? Thanks for hopping in. It's a podcast you want to listen to again? Y'all are too kind. Too kind in this degenerate stream. I don't appreciate all of your support and positive influences. I'm just kidding. You guys, I appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. The best. IBBW. Oh shit. He be booing work. Thank you for playing. I'm not gonna appreciate what you're about to do? Oh no. Don't do it. So many people just don't know. That's also, I get away with murder with Mewtwo. That's also fair. A lot of what low tiers also have to do is getting away with murder. Hey, what's up, Venus? How you doing? Like, a lot of what I'm doing isn't real. I'm a melee magician. I am lying to you when I play with Mewtwo. Like, a lot of what I do isn't true. And if you knew how to systematically deconstruct Mewtwo, things would probably be different. But it looks sick because it's magic. Hey, Phil, thank you for the sub. I'm not really gonna hate what you did there. I don't appreciate you supporting me, but I appreciate you supporting me. Thank you for the sub. Welcome to the Shadowclaw Covenant.
Versus
Rubber Dub. Aww. Thank you for playing.
Versus Captain Falcon. Ready?
Captain Falcon! Tinky, thank you for the follow. Chuck, thank you for the follow. I actually went over the whole tier list early in the stream, but the quick note is I don't think Mewtwo is too low. Well, not too low. I feel like Mewtwo might be at the bottom of C tier. And on any given day, I feel like Mewtwo and Mr. Game & Watch could probably change positions. But I also feel that Roy should also be at the bottom of C tier. I think Ness, Zelda, and Kirby should still be in D tier. What percentage of Mewtwo's combo games utilizing tech traps? Probably a lot more than I even really thought about. Tech chasing is a really big part of my gameplay against fast fallers. So, and cornering them with the tech, like, basically that's why you see me back throw a lot, is that I want to force them to offstage situations, and then when I force them to offstage situations, I can get them in grab situations, and if I get them in grab situations and I'm facing forward, I can down throw, because if they can't tech roll away, Mewtwo can tech chase really effectively with down throw, but then if they're in center stage, then back throw accomplishes that better, because if I keep them cornered, I'm more likely to find punishes and setups, because it's easier to kind of predict what people are going to do when they're cornered than if they have the full stage, if that makes sense. feel like Pichu should be higher? I think Pichu's place is perfect. Pichu's place makes perfect sense. Like a lot of the tier lists, I pretty much agreed with, and I also think the thing I had said a lot when I was going through the tier list is that the tier list should be dynamic. We should have regular tier list updates based on what characters are performing, what people are discovering, what people are doing, character representation. I think all of those things should matter for the tier list. Like the amalgamation of all of those things, and I think tier lists can be fluid over a game's lifespan. I don't think there should ever be anything as a true tier list unless you have a static game. Melee is dynamic. People are doing different things, and new people with different characters are doing stuff. Like Falcon, no one ever would have thought Falcon would win a super major with all the talent that's at the top. But look at it. We've seen Pikachu, we've seen Falcon, we've seen Falcon's placing higher and higher. We've seen less and less of certain characters that you thought there would be nothing but. Like Marth, as broken as people say Marth is, you don't see that many Marths in the top 30, But hey, thank you for the follows, Fluffins, and we all know who wrong. Yeah, Melee is an amazing game. I've still learned stuff about Melee all the time. That's so crazy. Like, as much as I poured so much of my time as a youth into this game. Yeah, man, Melee is something magical, Holidank.
Captain Falcon. Ready? Go!
Ow! She just went for the knee there? Crazy. I'm going big. Suck my dick. I'm going big. Suck my dick. Suck my dick. Oh, I missed that. I don't die. Oh. Sometimes it looks like a no clip around the I mean, those might be the teleports, though. Every time I'm gone, so when you call my number, I'll never pick up.
Everybody heard that I fuck with Trey, and they wanna tell me I made it. Nigga, I ain't made shit. If he gave me a handout, I'ma take it, rip and break it. Nigga, I'm faded off of that new bullshit. I'm with two horses. And they tie my laces, every the matrix at them twisted. Super, me and my nigga just have to
Now I'm a red.
opens, I no longer have
I know a lot of people that smile in my face, but talk behind my back every time I'm wrong. We know no more. Going there. Oh, do I not have? I have time for it. I'm pretty sure I've labbed it out. I just have to be close to frame perfect with my jump. But
Pikachu versus Captain Falcon. Ready? Go!
all right. Let's see. I'm getting harassed by some people, so I think I'm gonna let's see who we can descend on. So yeah, anyone who's watching, anyone's lurking too, I'm an educator first and foremost. I'm not actually a teacher or anything, but I do like to share my knowledge as you've listened to. So if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free, of course, to always ask them. I always like to try to help everybody out, improving their game. In general, any game. I can give you advice for every game that I've played if you want. Wrangler is streaming, but it doesn't look like he's streaming Melee right now. Let's see. Jace is up. We like to usually say hi to Jace. But let's see if there's anyone else we can hop on. Might be Jace. Venus, we probably can play sometime. I play with pretty much anybody. But yeah, like I usually find time to play with viewers all the time. I'm not so conceited that I don't play with any. And also, I'm not so big that I don't have time to play with everybody, you know. So yeah, I don't mind playing with everybody. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it up to you guys. Would you guys want to stay and keep this in the melee box and say hi? We could go to Jace, or would you guys want to go to Ringler? Actually, S2J. Might go S2J. S2J's fine. He's playing StarCraft right now, but I like to say hi to S2J. He rated us a while ago. I could send him back his way for the late night stream. So who you guys feeling? Who you guys feeling? Ringler, S2J, or Jace? StarCraft, whatever the fuck Ringler's playing. Disco Elysium is what Ringler's playing, or Jace who's playing melee. What do you guys feel? If you don't choose, I'll just probably go to S2J. But if you guys have a preference for melee, then I will definitely throw it at melee. Anybody? Anybody there? S2J, alright. S2J it is. Alright, we're gonna go and descend on Johnny to Kim's. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Good night to you, homie, as well. All you guys have been pretty wonderful, with the exception of one person who came in here, but everyone else has been great. Stream, if I get the assembly issues of mod soon fixed, I can show it off soon. Oh, right on. Sick. Sick. Virus, you're sick. You're infectious. And special thanks to you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. Alright guys, we're gonna go say drop in on S2J. Let them know where you come from. Thanks again for watching. If you like the content and you haven't already followed, please go ahead and follow. I don't have any kind of schedule. You know, I stream just whenever my my mood and mental state allow for it. So I appreciate you guys. Anyway. Alright. Glad I could help you out in the alpha, the Mewtwo advice. You guys have a good night. And peace.